What other things did you come across podcasting that you probably don't remember or didn't expect ever becoming a problem? What surprised you? And I'm asking this because it's probably going to surprise a new podcaster listening. And I want you to kind of streamline his or her success.
Yeah, you're going to get surprises, right? I mean, and that's the fun part of it sometimes is, oh, I didn't know about that. Just so many different tools that you need to stack everything up. I thought, hey, well, I've got the script, I can edit, done. Oh, wait, no, I have to publish. Okay, so now I need to figure out who's going to actually host. Oh, but that host isn't necessarily a brand name that people know unless they're in podcasting. Now I have to go to different platforms. Oh, but now there's a whole bunch of platforms, and I use Anchor for my hosting, but it doesn't necessarily go to every single platform. So then now I'm trying to farm out to figure out which one am I missing, and how do I even know how many listeners I'm getting and things like that. One good thing I did find about Anchor, though, actually, is because they're connected with Spotify, they have access to music, lots of music that you can interweave into the podcast. But then the downside of that I learned is, but then it only goes to Spotify, that it won't publish your episode with that licensed music to other places. So I was super excited.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. So I didn't know that. I don't use Anchor, and when we have new clients, I generally will say you get what you pay for, and Anchor's free. No offense to you, Nikki, or anyone who's grabbed Anchor. There's no real issue with Anchor, but I will say in general, if you are paying a decent dollar for it, sometimes you get more for for paying. You mentioned that with Anchor, there's some music that they'll give you through Spotify. But this huge drawback that you learned maybe the hard way is that now it's not maybe going to be that piece, that episode might not be on Apple Podcast or Google Play or iHeart or Spotify, only Stitcher. Is that accurate?
Only Spotify, because that's part of Anchor.
Only Spotify.
Yeah.
I might have switched them. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's the hard part. I mean, it was great because so the episode is other people's podcast. So I wanted to use the OPP song from the 90s, which was very popular, and sort of weave that in because I thought it was kind of a cool reference. And then when I started to, and it wasn't until I published that I realized I had that limitation. So I already had this great, what I thought was an amazing concept. And so the creativity sort of got ahead of the planning and execution. So would I do it again? Maybe if I felt like the music was going to be strong enough, but now also having a musician as a part of my editing team, I can just have him make custom music for us. And so we, kind of learn to adapt and grow and do what is going to make sense for the show. So
that a lot of cool stuff. Thank you. I'm glad you went into that. So you had a year of freedom and you decided to start a podcast for many reasons we already discussed. And you're about 6-ish months into that year of freedom. So what happens in 6-ish more months?
Yeah. So it's been 6 months for the podcast, 1 year for the business. So I had this sort of like New Year's resolution. Let's sit down and think about, what did we like, what went well, about everything within the business, but including the podcast. And I just sat down and said, let's take podcasting for the example. Did I like podcasting? Oh, heck yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I finished my year by going to Podcast Movement in Nashville, connecting with lots of other podcasters. It felt like going to like Comic-Con in the old days, just people that really love the creativity and the craft. And I learned a ton from all of that. And so it gave me new ideas for how to grow my show, how to develop as a host, what else I wanted to do. So it was fun. And then it's like, well, what am I missing? Well, I'm missing a lot of stuff because I just just jumped into it. So as I build out season 2 and season 3, it's rethinking this a little bit more, like, what's the whole storyboard? I hosted a conference at the end of July and I recorded all the materials. And so what we're going to do is, for folks that weren't able to attend the conference live, is reuse that material throughout season 2 to bring back those lessons from a number of other great motivational speakers that speak to this niche of people, and hopefully kind of connect them with some of that message. So it's really cool that now I can blend different parts of my business and enhance the podcast with something else entirely different that I did.